Hello and welcome back. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about this, the Thule Roundtrip 55-liter bike duffel. But I think it's really important to discuss why it is that I purchased this. So on the rental bike series, I was more or less just putting all of my clothing and equipment in a standard backpack, and my helmet was free floating. And at one point, you know, some stuff tipped off the rear seat and it just about crushed the helmet, which I thought, okay, not ideal. And you know, after a couple of days of riding, when clothes really started to stink, there wasn't really a good place, and so everything sort of started exploding slowly in the back of the truck. And I realized pretty quickly that having somewhere to organize clothing and gear and even a little bit of equipment was going to be really valuable. Most especially the fact that I live in an apartment building. And even if you live in a house, I think this is still really valuable as well for transit to the trailhead, but for me especially coming from my apartment down to where I park my vehicle. So let's get into it. I think this product is absolutely amazing with one exception, but I'm going to walk you through it bit by bit. So on the front here, we have a fold-out panel with gear storage, and I can show you that now. There's some nice corner gusseting. And it has like a sort of a plastic, almost tarp-like material on the inside with elastic bungee loops. There's 3 compartments here on the back side with mesh dividers. The mesh could go up maybe another centimeter or 2 because once you have some items in here, it sort of wants to displace whatever you have in the pouches out. But I really like how there's this corner gusseting that sort of catches this panel as it is. So I have in here a bike pump, some Allen key sets, Cliff shop locks, you know, a strap for tube to the frame. So that's on the front of it. On the front of this panel, of course, is a very thin, almost like wallet and keys. It's a double layer as well, but there is padding between this pocket and the tool storage behind. At each end, there is going to be compartments. This one is accessible from the outside, and this is for shoes. Again, it's got that tarp-like quality on the inside of it for, you know, keeping the dirt and any, you know, moisture sort of, you know, from seeping into the actual bag itself. And you can see on the bottom, there are 2 little drain holes if your shoes are absolutely soaking. I do find it to be a little bit of a narrow opening trying to get the shoes in and out. I have really tiny feet, and so I think if you have size 13 feet, you might struggle to actually get your shoes in here. As it is, I have the shoes on one on top of the other, but perhaps before you commit to the purchase, just ensure that your shoe size is actually going to fit in this end compartment. There are 2 exterior lift handles, and quite honestly, these I've used a lot more than I thought I would. I've been keeping this actual duffel in a bin, so this is actually a great way to lift it in and out of that bin. You might be familiar with them. They're like storage bins that you keep in your garage. In the center, we have a single suitcase style handle. It's actually really nice. It's padded. It feels super good in the hand. It has a nice ergonomic shape. And then there is what is one of the coolest features, which is the strap here. So I'm going to start from its standard position, which would be like down here in the middle. So from the standard position here, this would be for sort of a shoulder style carry, just like this. This is perfectly acceptable. However, if you're also wheeling a bicycle out with you where you might have it to one side or to the other, this position might not be ideal, especially if you're going to sort of, you know, try to wheel it on one side and do it on the other. Again, it's a perfectly acceptable shoulder strap, but there is a cool feature. Up here at the top, there is a logo where it sort of shows a cyclist and they're wearing it as a cross body. And there's a piece of Velcro, or hook and loop, I should say, on this end, and a piece of the loop here by the Thule. So what we can do is we can slide this padded shoulder strap all the way up, secure it with the Velcro, and then we can throw it on a crossbody configuration like this. And what's really nice about this is now the bag is in line with my silhouette. And so I can wheel a bike left and right, and it's actually really secure. This is arguably just as secure as, you know, a traditional dual strap backpack. but it keeps, like I said, in my silhouette, makes going through doors a lot easier, most especially if you are pushing a bike on one side or the other. And of course, the strap attaches via these loops, and there is the opportunity for you to, change the configuration from one side to the other. So that is the strap. Let's get into the bag. So underneath this sort of weather-resistant flap, we have, again, 2 zipper cars. We're gonna open this up, and we'll start here on the lid. So there is a little logo with a sock with little stink lines coming up from it, which would indicate that this is for your dirty and smelly clothes. Now on the inside, we do have a drain hole or a breather hole, and it is this double layer tarp-like material that's going to help keep the rest of your objects from getting any wetness or dampness on it if you happen to put wet objects in here, or reducing the actual odor transmission from this compartment. Now, it does appear to be a standard zipper, not a waterproof zipper, so, everything within reason. We can see here the internal organizational structure of the pouch. So we have the EVOC 1 liter hip pouch that fits really nicely in the back. You might be able to get a slightly larger one in there if you tried. I happen to have my pedals here on the side. I did notice that it's actually the perfect height for a 22-ounce water bottle. So if you're maybe using this as a race day bag, you could throw your keys and wallets, and maybe there's a shuttle to like a rider's area, and you could even throw your water bottles in here. So if you, maybe there's an aid station or something like that that you have to set up on yourself, you can do that. We have clothing storage. One option I thought is maybe you could do clothes for wet riding, clothes for dry riding. You could also do tops and bottoms, whatever sort of configuration that you like. Here we can see that it has a sunglass pocket with a little sunglass logo on the side. And then we have another sort of front pocket here where I have my knee pads situated. And then in this compartment, we have helmet storage. Now, this is one sort of criticism I have of the bag, because it is a rather sort of narrow opening to get the helmet in and out of it. Granted, this is a double, sort of layer pad with internal padding, so it's a really nice compartment with a 3D shape to it. But I find the opening itself to be just maybe a little bit tricky to get in and out. It does have the logo for a trail bike helmet in the bottom. However, I feel reasonably confident that you could actually get a full face helmet in here, although it might take a little bit of finagling, just again, due to this narrow opening. But it is nice to know that it is padded and secure. Similarly, from the shoes into this compartment, I can feel that there is a foam padding in that wall as well. Now, this brings me to arguably the one criticism that I have of this pack, and it is their choice of interior accessory color, which is made all the more ironic because it is near identical to the EVOC 1 liter internal hip pouch, which I don't also care for. I don't know, maybe gold was a popular color when these products were being designed, but I think it's maybe a bit polarizing. For me, it's most certainly not sufficient to deter me from purchasing the bag because the functionality is so amazing. But I would have liked to have seen maybe a bit more of a neutral color in here, something like a blue or even just a gray. And then they could do sort of other bags on the side, in a bit brighter color combinations. But it is nice that it is brighter, so you get a bit more of a color contrast feel to it. But I can't say that I love this particular gold color. Of course, the bag has a padding all around it to protect your items, your helmet, the various whatever you want to put in here, which is really nice to see. And that just about wraps up the tour as far as actual hard features go. One thing that I do think is really commendable is that this is a Blue Sign product. Now, I'm not an expert on Blue Sign, but I understand it to be involved with non-toxic inks and dyes. Yeah, it's really nice to see. I apologize, it's been probably a decade since I actually learned about what it is. So I hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on this particular product. As you can probably tell, I absolutely love it. I think it suits a wide variety of users, whether you are an apartment dweller like myself, if you live in a house and you just want to keep all your riding gear together so that a sock doesn't end up in one place and a glove in another. Even if you're a racer and you want to use this for maybe your accommodations to the rider staging area and you're going to go race from there, and maybe you want to keep you know, regular clothes and riding clothes together, or something to that effect. I think there's a lot of versatility that you can get out of a product like this. So I really hope you found this video helpful, whether you're considering this particular product or something else for your setup. If you have, I would greatly appreciate if you consider subscribing. I'm really trying to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers, and there's going to be plenty more videos like this coming out in the future. That said, if you haven't yet checked out the rental bike series, I would really hope that you take a look into that. If nothing else, I crashed a couple times, so maybe there's some entertainment value there. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. You take care. Bye for now.